welcome back to Car Juice. Today I'm going to be giving you guys the squeeze on the 2026 BMW X7 and also giving you my opinion as a BMW Client advisor if you should pick this one up or if you should go ahead and just wait for the 2027 model, which is going to be a full refresh. Come along with me and we're going to go over all of that and more on Car Juice. So, under the hood, we have a 375 horsepower inline-six B58 motor, BMW's creme de la creme. This is one of the best motors that currently is being produced in the automotive marketplace right now. This model in particular does have the M Sport package, which is going to add just a touch of extra pizzazz to the BMW X7. More aggressive looking styling package here on the front. You're also going to have the optional matte black kidney grills, and then specifically related to the B58 engine, you're going to have an M Sport tuned exhaust. Really, it doesn't make a huge difference. Just going to notice slightly more piped in cabin audio noise and maybe a little bit more of an aggressive audio note from the outside, but personally you're really not going to see too much of a difference. This car does get extremely good fuel economy from the inline-six motor. It's got a mild hybrid system that gives it about an extra 12 horsepower, and under the hood, let's take a closer look. You're going to find you actually have a small purple cable that is running to that motor that's integrated into your transmission. On the front, you are also going to find that you can see your air struts on the top, so looks a little bit different than a traditional strut. And then you also have some extremely hot anti-roll bars, which are going to keep this thing very smooth around the corners. This color on this one that I'm reviewing today is Manhattan Green, and I am going to get into some of the differences with the 26 model versus the 25 and 23 here in a moment. But basically, on the front of the 25 and 26 model BMW X7s, you're going to find basically the same design from 2023. There has been some slight changes every year that has gone past since this was redesigned in 2023, but for 26, the only difference from 25 is that they've made the parking assistance package standard, which means that you have this little camera here on the front grille, and then you're also going to have these mirror cameras on every single X7 that comes out. So this thing will always be able to do self-parking, and you're going to have access to the drive recorder, which will basically splice all 4 camera images together, making this thing very safe on the highway because you'll be able to constantly see what's going on. You do have run flat tires on all 4 corners, 285 45 by 21s. These are the wheels that I would recommend if you live in the Midwest like myself, just as the all-season tires are going to be the best for kind of any inclement weather. If you go up anything larger than a 21, you're going to lose that. And you can also basically still make this thing look cool even with the smaller wheels because of that air suspension. Let's actually check that out a little bit here in the back. You guys already saw earlier, but the trunk is very spacious. We've got 4 feet from one side to the next in the back row of the car, and you can actually put all of the seats down with the push of one button. After you do that, the second row is going to scoot forward. The third row will then subsequently fall quickly thereafter. And you have a air suspension button, which will lower the car down about 2 inches or so from the outside of the vehicle without you having to get in and adjust everything. As those seats are lowering, the car is also lowering down as well. So if you're parked and you feel a little bit insecure about your 21-inch wheels, you can just lower the car down and then automatically the wheels look bigger. That's what people don't understand. If you have a cool car and you don't want to drive on crappy, uncomfortable wheels, just get air suspension or just put it on its nuts like every other BMW enthusiast would do. But I would not recommend cutting your springs in order to do so. Back to the trunk, we really do have a decent amount of space in the back seat of this car. So you can see with everything folded down, just gobs and gobs of space. Between an X5 and X7, you have about an extra 8 inches or so of legroom in the second row of the vehicle. And overall, if you had like a Home Depot run, this would be more than sufficient. Difference-wise between X5 and X7, if you were comparing these, is the X5 is going to have a larger rear cargo capacity up underneath. So with the X7, you still have some space, but you have a much smaller kind of entrance to get all of your things into. As you saw a second ago, you do have 2 separate privacy shields. So this is the small one, which is to be used whenever you are using the third row, and then whenever you're not using the third row, you have this one, which will notch into these little rectangle square slots, and you will be able to put an additional privacy shield. One last thing with the trunk, this does have a folding partition, which has some extra carpeting on it, so if you have some heavy things you're sliding in, you can slide them on top of the carpet, and you won't scratch up any plastic or anything like that. Push of one button, on both the top and the bottom. We'll close the trunk back up. This one does have a trailer hitch. The X7 is rated to tow very well, if that is something that you are looking for, and the air suspension does self-level as you're taking this thing off-roading. Some other things on the M Sport package you'll notice with that matte black kidney grille I mentioned earlier, you're also going to get black window surrounds and then black roof rails. Those are part of the extra M Sport Professional package, which gets you access to colored brake calipers and a bunch of other black accents. And before we get inside of the car, I do want to mention the MSRP on this one, $96,775 to be exact. Let's check out the back seat. As you press a button, sit there, wait a second, don't keep pushing the button because the car will get confused. They are fully adjustable, so with one side forward and back, you can see there's about a 2-inch difference between the two seats there. And then overall, comfort-wise, the back seat of the X7 is very, very nice. So I've got probably 4 inches or so of headroom, ample headroom, even if you're a tall person. And then in regards to legroom, I have well over a foot of legroom in the back seat of the car. And then this one does have the climate comfort package, meaning you get heated seats in the rear, and then you're also going to have ventilated seats in the front. And then they even add a 6th zone in with the 3rd row. So we'll push that extra seat up. While we're waiting on this, you do have the ability to put your rear window shades up in the back seat of the car on either side, and you can lock your kids out if you are worried about them dragging on this. With the back seats up, you would basically be able to get right into the 3rd row seat. The height limit on the 3rd row seat is about 5'8", 5'9". In the back row, I end up with about 1 to 2 inches or so of headroom in the back seat of the car. So pretty decent as far as that goes. I mean, if you have a family road trip, nobody's going to be fighting over who gets stuck in the 3rd row. Lastly, about the 3rd row seat is you do have some USB Type-C ports here in the back, so you can put a car seat in the 3rd row as well. And you have a cup holder on either side. Here is the extra 6th zone for the climate, and the rear 3rd row seats are heated as well if you choose to go for that upgraded package. Very nice sunroof that goes all the way from the back to the front, and you also have a 3rd sunroof that's in the back. Just to show you how much adjustability you have on the car, you can scoot it forward and back, and you have a pretty good variance. I would say probably about 4 to 5 inches forward and back. So if you need to make some extra room in the rear, it is fully adjustable, so you don't have to worry about that too much. That's everything on the outside and on the back of the car covered. Let's go ahead, hop into the driver's seat. As you get into the driver's seat, you're always greeted by that very cool little animation that plays. Oh, I have got to get this AC going because it is 96 degrees outside, so it's a little bit hard to talk right now. With the M Sport package, you are going to have a much larger steering wheel than the typical X7, so a little bit beefier, a little bit chunkier. Then in 2023, they came out with this new wraparound display, so it goes from one side to the next, looks a little bit more sleek and modern. In 2024, they made it a little bit easier to adjust kind of your climate controls and everything. Previously, you had to go into a menu every time you wanted to change the temperature controls or anything like that. Very comfortable in the driver's seat as well, so I've got probably 5 inches or so of headroom in the driver's seat, and you can adjust that. So if you are super tall, the X7 is a good car for you. The door cards and everything feel very premium in the front seat, and overall feels like a $100,000 vehicle, which should be expected at this price point. In the center console, you have a wireless phone charger that doesn't have a little fan that blows on the back of it. That's something cool with the X3, is you have a fan that blows on the back of your phone so that it doesn't overheat. And then down along the side, you have your different drive modes and then also your different camera modes. The X7 can learn how to park in your garage, so you basically will just teach the car by pushing this record new path button and then basically just back into your driveway. You also have a wide angle front and rear camera. If you have like a sketchy pull out area, you always will have that. And now that's finally standard on the 2026, which is pretty nice. But that's more or less everything that I wanted to talk about in the front seat of the car, back seat, and the outside. So why don't we go ahead and take this thing out on a brief spin, and we'll go into how this vehicle drives and my overall opinion, if I think it's worth waiting for 27 or if you should stick it out and possibly pick up a 2026. All right, so in the driver's seat of the 2026 BMW X7, you're in a decently sized, nice, luxury, premium SUV. Specifically with the M Sport package, I genuinely do feel that this car drives pretty well, especially considering the size. Some key competitors against this car are going to be, you know, the Cadillac Escalade, the Mercedes GLS 460 or 450, and really That's about it. The Escalade is going to be significantly bigger than this car is, and it doesn't handle the same way that it does. However, the Mercedes is going to be slightly less powered and is just overall just not going to have the same feel, but it is going to probably be a little bit more comfortable, I would say, than what the BMW is, just because they're just super, super cushy, super quiet, super luxe. And, you know, the BMW is more so focused on kind of driving pleasure rather than purely going off of as smooth as possible ride. So the question I posed at the beginning of the video is, do I think it would be worth it to go ahead and wait for the 2027 full redesign, or if you should go ahead and jump into the 26? So I think that as time goes on, the cars are going to continue to get bigger and bigger, and they're going to continue to get more and more expensive. Thankfully, the 26s, while adding in a $900 package as standard, they have at least only increased the price by about $300 to $500, depending on how you end up equipping the vehicle. So all in all, not too bad there. And it's still a really smooth car, but I am kind of excited to see what the 26s look like. If you are somebody that appreciates more simplicity and wants a definite resolution as to what's going to go ahead and happen now, I would say pick up a 26, especially if you're watching this, say, like 6 months from now, and the car market is, still has some good offers. Whenever they killed the 25 model year and switched it over to the 26 model year, there were some really good deals on the 25s. I would only order one of these potentially if you have to have a car right now and are, looking to have basically a very, very nice luxury SUV that does have good performance, does have good power and stuff like that, and you're not willing to wait. Overall, the 375 horsepower B58 engine is really, really good. It's very reliable. Got good power, oomph between shifts, which makes this thing overall pretty fun and pretty snappy to drive, even for an SUV of this size. What's cool with BMWs is they all pretty much drive like a sedan on stilts, and that's pretty much the same for the X7. The other thing that's cool is in 25, they added the ability for basically the car to have full self-driving. So as you are stuck in a traffic jam, or if you're going on a long road trip or anything like that, the car will basically hold itself inside of its lane. 0 to 60 somewhere in the low 5s, about 5.1 seconds, 0 to 60. So pretty quick. And then the good fuel economy makes it nice if you're somebody that drives around a whole lot. I would also recommend considering checking out a BMW X550e if you don't have to have the third row seat, because you're going to have the same very luxurious, smooth ride that you will with the X7, but you're going to get a little bit more power and a lot more efficiency, somewhere in that realm of about 55 miles per gallon or so, which is pretty sweet. The cabin is super quiet. Got double pane glass on the front doors. You've got double pane glass in the back doors, laminated windshield, everything that you could pretty much imagine this thing has in it. Sounds pretty good whenever you're shifting between the gears, and you're saving considerably more money compared to the X7 M60, which is a sweet car, but it's a ton of money, somewhere in like the $112,000 to $120,000 range, depending on how you choose to option it. So I would recommend still trying to go in and drive an X7. Make sure it's the right car for you, but great features, very smooth, very luxurious cabin, great heads-up display, wireless Apple CarPlay, all the stuff that you kind of expect whenever you're getting into a very high-end luxury car like this. To answer the question I asked at the beginning of the video, the question is maybe. Do you need a car right now? Then go for a 26. If you are kind of just kicking around the idea of it, maybe wait for the 27. But that's going to be basically where I go ahead and end off my video today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I post a new video every single week, predominantly BMW luxury automotive. So we've got some cool stuff coming down the pike. But without further ado, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one. Deuces.